My urologist saved my life with baking soda. I know how that sounds. At 61, sitting in Dr. Patterson's office after my third sleepless week, watching him scribble notes about my enlarged prostate, I was desperate for anything that didn't involve surgery. When he looked up and said, "Thomas, I want you to try something unconventional first," I thought he was about to recommend another expensive supplement. Instead, he walked to his cabinet, pulled out a small box of Arm & Hammer baking soda, and said, "This might restore your blood flow faster than anything else we could try." I stared at him like he'd lost his mind. 4 years later, after reversing my prostate symptoms naturally, I understand why he called it the most overlooked circulation booster in medicine. What Dr. Patterson taught me that day changed everything about how I understood my prostate problems, and more importantly, how simple the solution could actually be. But before I share his exact protocol, you need to understand why most men never hear about this approach, and why the timing of when you take it determines whether it works or fails completely. See, most urologists won't even mention this option because it's not a prescription they can write. It's not a procedure they can bill for. And honestly, it sounds too simple to work. But the science behind why baking soda restores blood flow to the prostate is actually more solid than most treatments doctors regularly prescribe. The problem is that nobody explains the mechanism properly, so men try it wrong and then dismiss it as worthless. I almost made that same mistake. When Dr. Patterson first mentioned baking soda, my immediate thought was, "Come on, Doc, I'm not here for home remedies. I've been getting up 4 times every night for months. My stream was so weak I had to aim differently just to hit the bowl." The burning, the urgency, the constant feeling like I couldn't fully empty my bladder. I was living in bathroom anxiety 24 hours a day. My wife Sarah was losing sleep too, hearing me shuffle to the bathroom repeatedly every night. The intimacy in our marriage was suffering because I was constantly worried about my next bathroom break. I felt like my masculinity was draining away drop by drop, and this doctor wanted me to drink baking soda like it was some miracle cure. But here's what changed my mind. Dr. Patterson opened his laptop and showed me blood work results from 2 of his patients. Both men, similar ages to me, with similar prostate issues. The first man's blood pH was 7.1, slightly acidic. The second man's pH was 7.4, properly alkaline. The difference in their prostate symptoms was dramatic. The acidic patient was getting up 6 times per night, had severe flow problems, and constant inflammation markers in his blood tests. The alkaline patient had minimal nighttime urination, strong flow, and virtually no inflammation. Both men had started with identical symptoms 6 months earlier. The only difference? One had been using Dr. Patterson's baking soda protocol religiously. The other had refused to try it. That's when Dr. Patterson explained something that completely changed how I understood prostate health. He said, "Thomas, your prostate isn't just enlarged because of age or hormones. It's inflamed and constricted because your blood has become too acidic over the years. When blood pH drops below 7.35, the smooth muscle tissue around your prostate tightens up like a fist. Blood flow gets restricted, oxygen delivery drops, inflammation skyrockets, and all those urination problems you're experiencing, they're symptoms of poor circulation, not just prostate enlargement." This made perfect sense when I thought about my lifestyle. Years of stress from running my construction business. Daily coffee, barely any vegetables, processed foods for convenience, late night eating when deadlines hit. My body had been running acidic for decades, and my prostate was paying the price. Dr. Patterson continued, "Baking soda, sodium bicarbonate, is one of the most powerful blood alkalizers we know of. But timing and dosage are everything. Take it wrong and you'll just get stomach upset with no benefits. Take it right and you can shift your blood pH enough to relax those smooth muscle fibers and restore healthy blood flow to your prostate within days." He pulled out a notepad and wrote down his exact protocol. half a teaspoon of pure sodium bicarbonate in 8 ounces of water, taken on an empty stomach exactly 2 hours after dinner. Never with food, never in the morning, never more than once per day. The reason for this specific timing, he explained, is that your stomach needs to be empty so the bicarbonate can enter your bloodstream directly without interfering with digestion. Taking it 2 hours after dinner means your evening meal has moved through your stomach, but you're still hours away from breakfast, giving the bicarbonate time to work on your blood pH overnight. This is when your body does most of its healing and restoration anyway. I was skeptical, but desperate enough to try anything. That night I mixed my first glass. The taste was awful, salty and chalky, but I choked it down. For the first 3 days, I didn't notice much difference, but on day 4, something shifted. I woke up and realized I'd only gotten up twice during the night instead of my usual 4 times. By day 7, my morning stream was noticeably stronger. 2 weeks in, I was sleeping through the night more often than not. After a month, Sarah commented that I seemed less anxious about bathroom availability when we went out. The constant underlying stress I'd been carrying about my prostate symptoms was lifting. But the real breakthrough came 6 weeks later when Dr. Patterson ordered new blood work. My pH had shifted from 7.1 to 7.38, right in the optimal range. More importantly, my prostate-specific inflammation markers had dropped by 60%. My PSA levels, which had been creeping upward for years, had stabilized. Dr. Patterson looked at the results and said, "This is exactly what we hope to see. Your blood chemistry has shifted enough to allow proper circulation to return to your prostate tissue." What fascinated me was learning about the cascade effect that happens when blood pH normalizes. Dr. Patterson explained that acidic blood doesn't just affect smooth muscle tension. It also impairs oxygen delivery to tissues, reduces the effectiveness of immune system responses, and creates an environment where inflammation can persist indefinitely. When you restore proper alkalinity, several things happen simultaneously. The smooth muscle fibers around your prostate relax, allowing better blood flow. Oxygen delivery to prostate tissue increases, supporting healthy cellular function. Your body's natural anti-inflammatory processes become more effective. And the chronic irritation that causes those urgent, frequent urination signals starts to calm down. The mechanism is actually quite straightforward once you understand it. Your prostate is surrounded by a network of smooth muscle fibers and blood vessels. When these muscles are in a state of chronic tension due to acidic blood conditions, they compress the urethra and reduce blood flow to the prostate gland itself. This creates a vicious cycle where poor circulation leads to inflammation, which causes more muscle tension, which further restricts blood flow. Baking soda breaks this cycle by addressing the root cause, the acidic blood chemistry that triggers the initial muscle tension. Within days of normalizing blood pH, those smooth muscle fibers begin to relax. Blood flow increases, inflammation decreases, and the urination symptoms that have been making your life miserable start to improve naturally. Now, I want to be clear about something important. This isn't medical advice, and every man's situation is different. What worked for me might not work exactly the same way for you. But the science behind blood pH and prostate health is solid, and Dr. Patterson has used this approach successfully with hundreds of patients over his 30-year career. The key is consistency and proper timing. I've been following this protocol religiously for 4 years now. Not just the baking soda, but also tracking how my body responds day by day. This kind of detailed monitoring became crucial for understanding what was working and what wasn't. There's actually an app I started using about 2 years into my recovery that made tracking everything much easier. I'll put the link in the pinned comment if you want to check it out. It helps monitor pH levels, symptom changes, and sleep quality, and adjusts recommendations based on your daily inputs. Having that consistent data helped me optimize not just the baking soda timing, but also dietary factors and lifestyle changes that support the process. But the baking soda protocol is just the foundation. Dr. Patterson also taught me about amplifying factors that can accelerate the results. First, hydration timing matters enormously. You want to drink plenty of water throughout the day to support the alkalizing effect. But stop fluid intake 2 hours before bed to maximize the overnight benefits without disrupting sleep. Second, certain foods can either support or undermine the process. Leafy greens, particularly spinach and kale, naturally support blood alkalinity. Processed meats, excess sugar, and too much caffeine work against it. You don't have to be perfect, but being aware of these factors helps. Third, stress management is crucial because chronic stress triggers acid production in your body. I started doing simple breathing exercises, just 5 minutes of deep, slow breathing before taking my evening baking soda. This seemed to enhance the effectiveness significantly. After 18 months of consistent use, Dr. Patterson suggested I try cycling the protocol, using it for 3 weeks, then taking a week off. This prevents your body from adapting to the point where the bicarbonate becomes less effective. During those off weeks, I focus extra attention on alkalizing foods and stress reduction to maintain the benefits. The results have been remarkable and sustainable. I'm now 65, and my prostate symptoms are better than they were at 55. I sleep through the night regularly. My stream is strong and consistent. The anxiety about bathroom access that controlled my life for years is completely gone. My marriage is stronger because we're both sleeping better and I'm not constantly preoccupied with prostate worry. But here's what really convinced me this approach was fundamentally different from anything else I'd tried. About 2 years ago, I had to travel for a family emergency and forgot to pack my baking soda. After 5 days without the protocol, my symptoms started returning. The nighttime urination increased, the stream weakened, the familiar anxiety crept back. As soon as I resumed the protocol, everything normalized within a week. This taught me that while baking soda is incredibly effective, it's addressing an ongoing condition, not providing a permanent cure. My body tends toward acidity due to genetics, diet, and lifestyle factors. The baking soda protocol manages this tendency successfully, but it requires consistency. I've also learned to recognize early warning signs. If I start getting up more than twice per night, or if my morning stream seems weaker, I know my blood chemistry might be shifting acidic again. Usually this happens when I've been under extra stress or eating poorly for a few days. Returning to strict protocol timing and adding extra alkalizing foods typically resolves things quickly. Dr. Patterson has shared some compelling research with me over the years. A 2019 study published in the International Journal of Urology found that men with chronic prostatitis who normalized their blood pH showed significant improvement in symptoms compared to those who maintained acidic blood chemistry. Another study from the European Association of Urology demonstrated that smooth muscle relaxation in prostate tissue is directly correlated with blood alkalinity levels. The research consistently supports what Dr. Patterson observed in his practice, that blood pH plays a crucial role in prostate health that most medical approaches completely ignore. What's particularly interesting is that this approach seems to work regardless of what initially caused the prostate problems. I've connected with other men online who've used similar protocols successfully for enlarged prostate due to aging, chronic prostatitis from bacterial infections, and even some cases of early-stage prostate cancer where conventional treatment was being delayed or refused. The common factor seems to be that restoring proper blood circulation and reducing inflammation creates an environment where prostate tissue can heal naturally, regardless of what damaged it initially. I want to address some common concerns and mistakes I've seen men make when trying this approach. First, dosage matters. More is not better. I tried increasing to a full teaspoon for a few days, thinking I'd get faster results. Instead, I got stomach upset and actually felt worse. The half-teaspoon dose seems to be the sweet spot for most men. Second, timing is critical. Taking it with food or too close to meals completely changes how your body processes the bicarbonate. I learned this the hard way when I got lazy about timing and my results plateaued. Third, quality of the baking soda matters. Use pure sodium bicarbonate, not baking soda that contains aluminum or other additives. I use Arm & Hammer Pure Baking Soda, which is what Dr. Patterson recommended, but any pure sodium bicarbonate will work. Fourth, be patient with results. Some men see improvements within days like I did. Others take several weeks. Your starting blood chemistry, overall health, and consistency with the protocol all affect how quickly you'll respond. Don't give up if you don't see dramatic changes in the first week. Also, monitor your blood pressure if you have hypertension. Sodium bicarbonate can affect blood pressure in some people, though Dr. Patterson says the small amount in this protocol rarely causes problems. Still, it's worth checking with your doctor, especially if you're on blood pressure medications. I've found that combining this protocol with a few other simple practices amplifies the results significantly. Every morning I drink a glass of water with fresh lemon juice. This might seem counterintuitive since lemons are acidic, but citric acid actually has an alkalizing effect on blood chemistry once metabolized. It's a gentle way to support the evening baking soda protocol. I also do 10 minutes of light stretching before bed, focusing on hip and pelvic area flexibility. Poor posture and tight hip muscles can compress blood vessels and reduce circulation to the prostate. Simple stretches that open up the pelvic area seem to enhance blood flow and make the baking soda more effective. Dietary-wise, I've made some changes that support the overall approach. More vegetables, especially dark leafy greens. Less red meat, though I haven't eliminated it completely. Reduced coffee from 4 cups to 1 cup per day. Cut way back on processed foods and added sugars. These changes alone probably wouldn't have solved my prostate problems, but combined with the baking soda protocol, they create a synergistic effect. One thing that surprised me was how this approach improved other aspects of my health. My energy levels increased. Joint stiffness I'd attributed to aging reduced significantly. My sleep quality improved beyond just the reduced bathroom trips. I was getting deeper, more restorative sleep. Dr. Patterson explained that chronic acidity affects multiple body systems, so normalizing blood pH often creates widespread improvements. The mental and emotional benefits have been just as significant as the physical ones. Living with prostate problems creates this constant background anxiety that you might not even realize you're carrying until it's gone. Always scanning for bathroom locations, worrying about long car trips or movies, feeling embarrassed about the sounds and frequency of urination, anxiety about sexual performance and intimacy. When these concerns lift, it's like a weight you didn't know you were carrying suddenly disappears. Now, when I share this story with other men, I always emphasize that individual results will vary. What worked for me might not work exactly the same way for you. Your starting blood chemistry, overall health, medications you might be taking, and consistency with the protocol all matter. Some men see dramatic improvements within days. Others take weeks or months to notice significant changes. But the underlying principle that blood pH affects prostate health through its impact on smooth muscle tension and circulation is scientifically sound. If you decide to try this approach, I recommend tracking your symptoms carefully. Note your nighttime urination frequency, morning stream strength, and overall comfort levels. This data will help you determine whether the protocol is working for you and identify the optimal timing and dosage for your body. Remember, this is about managing an ongoing condition, not providing a quick fix. The men I know who've had lasting success with this approach treat it as a lifestyle change, not a temporary intervention. Consistency over months and years is what creates sustained improvements. Dr. Patterson always told me that prostate health is like a garden. You can't neglect it for years and then expect one intervention to fix everything permanently. But if you're willing to tend to it consistently with the right approaches, remarkable healing is possible at any age. At 65, I feel more confident about my prostate health than I did at 55. The baking soda protocol gave me back my sleep, my peace of mind, and my quality of life. If you're struggling with similar symptoms, it might be worth discussing this approach with a healthcare provider who's open to natural methods. Not every doctor will be familiar with using blood pH management for prostate health, but the science is there for those willing to look into it.